Good morning, guys. In the last class, we discussed about how to develop provider application and how to deploy that provider application in the AWS cloud, how to test that provider by using Swagger. We have taken IRCTC API as a provider and we developed two functionalities in this IRCTC API. One is for booking the ticket that will take passenger data as a input and it will provide ticket data as a output. And another method which will take a get request and which will give all the tickets booked in our system. Now, in order to develop that application, we created these classes. Passenger is used for request data, ticket is used for response data, business logic is there in the service IMPL, and REST controller to handle request and response. We are using Swagger in this application to test through user interface. Swagger is providing documentation as well as it is providing the UI, a beautiful UI it is providing to test our application. How we added the Swagger for that? In order to add the Swagger for the project, we just need to add this dependency in the pom.xml. Then after we have started our application, we tested and we deployed that application in the AWS cloud also, because in the real time also provider will run in one system, consumer will run in another system. Now my provider is running in the AWS cloud. This is the URL of our provider. By using this URL, we can access the information about the provider, URL of the provider, what methods available in the provider, what is the input for that method, and what is output of that method. Everything we can understand by using this documentation. So to send the request and response, to send the request and to get the response, what are the classes? Passenger class available, ticket class available. Passenger is representing input data for the API. Ticket is representing output data for the API. Got my point? Now, with this knowledge, with this API, now we need to understand consumer development. As we discussed, in the distributed application, two actors will be available. One is called as consumer, another one is called as provider. The application which is giving services to other application is called provider. The application which is taking the services is called consumer. Some people will be calling this as a resource and this as a client. Okay, resource nothing but the application which is giving the services to other application. Client nothing but which is accessing the services from other application. Here consumer will be available in one system, provider will be available in one system. This consumer and provider will communicate by using HTTP as a mediator. HTTP protocol will be available that is used to send a request and receive the response. Consumer will send a HTTP request, provider will send HTTP response. This request and response will be sent in the form of JSON. Consumer will send JSON data to the provider. Provider also will send JSON data to the consumer. Why we are using JSON data here? Why we are using only JSON? Why not Java objects? Here we are developing interoperable applications. Nothing but today our provider consumer both are based on Java, but in the real time they may be used different technologies for the development. Provider is Java, consumer can be Angular, consumer can be React, consumer can be Python, .NET, Salesforce, like that. There are different technologies available. So that's why consumer will send data to the provider in the form of JSON format. Provider also will send response to the consumer in the JSON format. JSON is platform independent and language independent. All the operating systems will support JSON data. All the programming languages will support JSON data. JSON will represent data in the form of key and value. It is lightweight. Okay. Now, our Java language also will support for the JSON by using Jackson API. JSON will be converted to Java object, and Java object can be converted to JSON by using Jackson. In the Spring Boot, do we need to write the logic for the conversion, or it will be taken care by Spring Boot? It will be taken care by Spring Boot. Your REST controller will take JSON data in the object format. Object it will give in the form of JSON. The conversions we no need to do. The conversions we no need to do. The conversions will be taken care by our Java application, which is using REST controller. So here, as of now, what happened is we are sending JSON as a input that is converted to object in the REST API. So if you see in our REST API development, I'm taking object as a parameter for booking the ticket. It is a post mapping, consuming JSON, producing JSON, object is a parameter. But client is sending the object, or client is sending the JSON, client is sending the object, or client is sending the JSON, client is sending the JSON. That JSON is converted to Java object in the REST API. That means consumer is sending the JSON to the provider side, that JSON converted to one Java object. Then the logic is executed to book the ticket. After ticket booking got completed, what this provider is doing? Provider is converting the ticket object back to JSON and sending that JSON to the consumer. Okay. So my method, if you see my REST API method, taking object, returning object. Okay. But here consumer passing JSON for the passenger data, passenger JSON converted to passenger object. Method is returning ticket object. Object is going to the consumer, JSON is going to the consumer, JSON is going. So that means in the provider, first when the request came, passenger data will come in the JSON, that is converted to Java object. Then here my logic is executed. Then ticket is available. Ticket we are sending to the consumer in the JSON. Ticket object converted to JSON. So who is taking care of these conversions here? Jackson API is taking care of those conversions in the REST controller. As a programmer, we are not writing the logic to convert object to JSON, JSON to object. That is taken care by our REST controller. Because that REST controller we are developing by using Spring Boot. Spring Boot is using Jackson API. Because of that, the conversions are happening. Okay. So with this, our provider side, we are good. Provider side, we are good. We developed a IRCTC API. It is running. We have Swagger. We have the documentation. It is running in the cloud. Anybody can access that. Okay. Now we need to go to, this is in the REST API. This is first part of the movie. We are able to complete provider. We are able to test it. We are able to deploy it. Now we need to go for second part of the movie, that is consumer development. Okay. What is consumer, guys? Who is called consumer? Which is accessing services from other application is called consumer. So if your application is accessing the services from other application, then your application is called as a consumer application. Are you clear? Now, so consumer development. So today we are going to learn about consumer development. Consumer development. The application which is accessing services from other applications. The application which is accessing services from other applications is called as consumer application. Okay. Consumer can be in any technology, guys. It can be Java or .NET, Python, Angular, React. So today we are using Java to develop the consumer. So the application which is accessing the services from other applications is called as consumer application. We can develop consumer in Java, in Spring Boot especially. In Spring Boot, we can develop consumer in three ways. In Spring Boot, we can develop consumer in three ways. One is by using REST template. One is by using REST template. Second one is by using web client. Third one is by using PN client. Okay, so total there are three ways available to develop consumer in the Spring Boot. First approach is REST template. Second approach is web client. Third one is PN client. REST template, to be frank guys, this REST template is outdated. So earlier people used to work with REST template. Okay, this is supporting for only synchronous communication. This is supports for only synchronous communication. This web client supports for both synchronous and asynchronous communication. Now, currently, people are using this web client to develop the consumer side application or client side logic. PN client, in my inter-service communication. Inter-service communication. If you are developing microservices architecture, then to develop the consumer logic, we are going to use PN client. We are going to learn all these three approaches, guys, because some old applications are using REST template, latest applications are using web client and PN client. When you go for REST template, it supports for only synchronous communication. When you go for web client, it supports for both synchronous communication and asynchronous communication, introduced in Spring 5.x version, guys. This concept came in the market from the Spring 5.x version. Currently, we are using Spring 6.x version. Up to 4.x version of the Spring, people used it to go with REST template. Now people are going for web client. Okay, if you are using microservices architecture, if you are using microservices architecture, then we can go for PN client. PN client nothing but inter-service communication. Okay, what is this synchronous and asynchronous? We will understand with the example. First, let's complete our consumer development by using REST template. Then I will explain what is the synchronous and asynchronous by using web client. Okay, synchronous means after sending the request, it will wait for the response. That is called synchronous. Asynchronous means after sending the request, we will not wait for the response. That is called asynchronous. We'll see practically. Good. So provider is ready. Now we are going for consumer. The application which is accessing services from other applications is called as consumer application. In Spring Boot, we can develop consumer in three ways. One is by using REST template. Second one is by using web client. Third one is by using PN client. Okay. Now let's go here and create one project. File, new, starter project. Observe carefully. 23 project. This is called as Make My Trip application, which will access IRCTC application. Okay. Maven as a build tool. Java 17. Click on next. Web dev tools, time leaf. I'm using time leaf. What why we are going for time leaf? Time leaf is for presentation. Now I need the presentation logic to, if you want to book the ticket, you need to enter your data in the form, then you will get the ticket data in the UI. So to take the passenger data, to display the ticket data, we need the UI in our Make My Trip application. So that's why for that UI part, I'm using time leaf dependency. Web starter, dev tools, and time leaf. Next, click on finish. Right. Make My Trip application is getting created now. Yep. Go to pom.xml, Java 17, boot 3.2, time leaf, web, dev tools. Good. Next, in order to develop this client application also, first we need to understand the provider details. Okay, what is there in the provider? Post method is available, get method is available. What is input for the post method? This is the input for the post method. What is output from the post method? This is output from the post method. So to support this input and output, we need to create one form binding class for the passenger, one more class called ticket. Passenger class, ticket class we need to create in the consumer. Provider side also those classes available. Provider developed by another company. Now we are developing consumer. In the consumer also, passenger data, ticket data we need to represent in the form of objects. Okay, how do you understand that? If you go to provider documentation, if you see, I want to send a post request. I want to send a post request. Click on this one. This is request body. We need to send in the JSON format. This data we need to send in the request. And this data we are getting in the response. So to represent request data and response data, we need objects in the consumer application also. In the provider application, already those objects are available. Same objects I want in the consumer also. Provider developed by one company. Now we are developing consumer. Now go to this project and create those classes as binding classes, form bindings I can say. New class in.ashokid.bindings. So here I'm taking class with a name called passenger and one more class with a name called ticket. Passenger class and ticket class is available. What information we need to take in the passenger? Name, email, from, to, date of journey and a train number. Okay, this is the data that we need to send in the request. For this data, we need to create the variables, right? Now, private string name is available. Name is a string variable. So similarly, email we need to take email. Then from, how do you understand what variables we need to take? Based on the documentation. In the documentation, it is telling clearly what data is expecting by our provider. From, to, address, train number is available. Date of journey, private string, date of journey, then train number. These are the variables in the passenger. How do we know that we need to take only these variables? It is there in the documentation. Name, that request body. What we need to send in the request body? Name, email, from, to, date of journey and train number. Okay. For these variables, let us take setters and getters. Right. Passenger name, email, from, to, date of journey and train number. What about the response? What response we are going to get? Ticket data. What is extra? Train number and status is extra. Now take these things. Ticket ID, get tickets, ticket number basically. Yeah. Ticket number, which is integer, private integer ticket number and ticket status. So private string, what is the variable name? Status. Right. So guys, you need to make sure whatever it is displaying, this key name should match with your variable name. Then only data mapping will happen. Otherwise data mapping will not happen. Now for these variables, create setters and getters. Perfect. Okay, now let me write some toString also. For ticket, I am writing toString to print that data. So with this consumer side, we created binding classes. Request binding, response binding. Now remember, in the provider also request binding, response binding is available. In the consumer also request binding, response binding is available. Same concept. Tomorrow when you go for full stack development, Angular and Spring Boot or React. In the Spring Boot, request binding, response binding. In the Angular, request binding, response. That means the classes will be available in both front-end application as well as in the back-end application. Now, Make My Trip is our front-end application. IRCTC is our back-end application. Are you clear with this one? Good. Next, our bindings are ready. Once the bindings are ready, let us create a service class with the business logic, guys. Service. So here I'm writing a service, make my trip service. You can take a interface and you can write the implementation also. Now I'm taking service class here. To represent this class as a service, we are using @service annotation. Now, first I need to write one method to book the ticket. To book the ticket, I need passenger data and I will give the ticket for you. Public ticket, book ticket. Public ticket, book ticket, book ticket. Now, I'm taking passenger as a input. I'm taking passenger as a input and I need to return ticket as a output. So who is responsible for booking the ticket, guys? Make My Trip is responsible or IRCTC is responsible? IRCTC is responsible. IRCTC is a provider which is having a business logic. Make My Trip is a consumer which will access IRCTC. Where is IRCTC now? Where is IRCTC now? In the cloud. Can we call it as a web service? It is providing service to book the ticket through internet, which is called web service. Any application which is giving service to other application through web is called as a web service. We can call it as a web service. We can call it as a REST API. We can call it as a RESTful web service. We can call it as a microservice also. We can call it as a microservice also. Now, I'm calling it as a provider, which will take passenger data as a input, which will give me ticket data as a out. Now, we need to connect from one application to another application. I am developing consumer today. Today, I am developing consumer application. Consumer application is Make My Trip application. Make My Trip application having passenger object, ticket object. Now, Make My Trip will get the passenger data from the form and give that data to the IRCTC. IRCTC will give the ticket data. You send that ticket data to the UI. Are you guys clear? Now, let's go to our logic. This is important, guys. Just 2 lines of code we are going to write. That's it. That is called consumer logic. Just 2 lines of code we are going to write to access one application from the another application. Now for Make My Trip, I want to access IRCTC. IRCTC is a provider. It is running in the AWS cloud. Okay. Now, in order to develop this consumer logic, first, let us take our API URL. First, let us take our API URL. So API is IRCTC API. Where is that URL? In the same system or in the different system? Different system. Let us take that URL. Okay. Go to Swagger. It will tell you the URL of the API. Now go to post request. If you click on try it out, then you can see input and output. I need this URL. What is the URL pattern? Slash ticket is the URL pattern. Let me copy this one. That's it. That is the URL. So this is IP address of the computer. where our application is running. Port number of our server, embedded Tomcat server. Slash ticket is URL pattern. This is the post request method URL. Post request method URL. Now, how many ways we can develop the consumer? What is the meaning of consumer basically? Which will send a request to the provider. How many ways we can send that request to the provider? REST template, web client, and VN client. Okay. Now let's here. Let me go with the REST template first. Let me create one object REST template. Can you read this? What it is saying? Synchronous client to perform HTTP. That means make my trip should send HTTP request to IRCTC. To send that HTTP request, we have three options. One is REST template, another one is web client, third one is VN client. Now I am going for REST template. REST template RT is equal to new REST template. New REST template. Now, what request we need to send to book the ticket? How do I know that? Documentation. What request it is expecting? Post request. What data it is expecting? Passenger data. In which format? JSON format. Okay. I have the data in the form of object. Now, REST template. RT dot post for entity. What is the method, guys? Post for entity. Post for entity is a method in the REST template class which is used to send post request to the given URL. Now I have the URL of the provider. Now I want to send post request to the provider from the consumer. HTTP post request. To send that HTTP post request to the consumer, I am using a method called post for entity method. Are you able to follow me? What are the parameters for this one, guys? URL, request object, response type. URL. What is the URL of your provider? To which URL you want to send a post request? What data you want to send in the request body? What response you are expecting from the provider? These three parameters you need to pass for this method. What is first parameter? URL. What is the second parameter? Request body data. What is third parameter? What response you are expecting from the provider? Are you able to understand? Now, go to post for entity. First one is URL. First one is URL. Second one is passenger data. I want to send passenger data in the body. Here question. Passenger is a object. Will I send? Do we need to send object to the provider? We need to send JSON to the provider. Here REST template will convert our object to the JSON, will send JSON to the provider. In the provider, REST controller will convert object to JSON, JSON to object. Here REST template will convert object to JSON, JSON to object, because sending the JSON is not only my requirement, that is universal. That's why this method will take your object as a input. That object will be converted to JSON, will send that JSON to the provider. What is the third parameter? I'm expecting response. What response will come? Ticket data. In which format? JSON. If you want direct to JSON, you can specify string.class. That means you will get JSON, raw JSON. Direct to JSON you will get as a response. But I don't want that JSON because my application is a Java application. Everything I want to represent in the form of object. Whatever the response I am getting from the provider, that response also should be in the form of JSON. That JSON should be converted to Java. For that, I will specify ticket.class. If I specify string.class, what is the meaning of that? You will receive raw JSON. But if I want to convert that JSON to ticket object, I will specify ticket. That means here REST template will take the passenger, will convert to JSON, will send to this server in the request body. Server will send ticket JSON, then REST template will convert ticket JSON to ticket object and will give me ticket object. This is confusion for most of the people. Sir, you told REST API is interoperable now. Why are you sending object as a input? Why are you getting object as a output? I am not sending object as a input. I am giving my object to REST template. REST template will convert that object to JSON, will send the JSON to the server. Server will give the JSON. REST template will convert that JSON to Java. That means whenever I am calling this method post per entity, what will happen here? Whatever the passenger JSON, passenger object is available, passenger object will be converted to JSON. That JSON will go to the provider. Okay, I am having data in the form of object. Object will be converted to JSON. JSON will go to the provider. What provider will do? Again, the JSON will be converted to Java, will execute the logic. Then Java object will be converted to JSON. JSON will come as a response. What I am doing here, again, that JSON response we are getting, converting to object, ticket object. That means conversions are happening. The conversions are taken care by Spring Boot. You no need to write that logic. Okay. Now here consumer side, I am passing object as a input. Doesn't mean that object will go to IRCTC. REST template will convert this passenger object to passenger JSON. JSON will be sent to the provider. Provider will send ticket JSON. That ticket JSON again will be converted to Java object. Are you able to follow me? Yes, good. Now I got this response entity. Look at this code, guys. I'm calling post for entity. What is the meaning of post for entity? What is the meaning of post for entity? If you want to send post request to the particular server, then you will use that. What are the parameters for that method? 3 parameters available. What is the first parameter? To which URL you want to send post request. What is second parameter? What data you want to send in the request body. What is third parameter? What is third parameter? How you are getting the what response you are expecting from the provider. Okay. Now I got the response entity for entity dot get body. For entity dot get body. What is the body we are getting? Ticket data, ticket object. Body is actually JSON. JSON is converted to ticket object. The ticket object I am returning from my method. Are you clear? Yeah. Look at this logic. This is called consumer logic. Very simple. Just 2 lines of code. Just 2 lines of code we are writing, guys. That's it. Are you able to understand this code? What is REST template? It is a predefined class in the Spring Web MVC to send HTTP request to the URLs. I am calling post for entity method. What is the meaning of post for entity method? To send a post request. What are the parameters for this method? Three parameters. One is URL, second one is request object, third one is response type. Here I am passing P. What is this P? Passenger object. Now I am passing object. Does it mean that object will go to provider? No. What will happen internally? Object will be converted to JSON. JSON will go to provider. What provider is giving? Provider is giving JSON. Do we need to deal with JSON or we want to deal with object? Again, JSON should be converted to object. Who will take care of that in this program? REST template will take care of the conversion. Okay. Next one. We have another method in the REST API, which is used to get all the tickets, guys. Okay. How do we get all the tickets? Public list of ticket. Okay. Get all tickets. Now, what is the API URL? What is the API URL? Tickets. Go to the documentation to understand the URL. So you see here the URL pattern for get method. What is the URL pattern? Slash tickets is the URL pattern. Now, slash tickets. I want to send a request. For that, I'm using REST template. I'm using REST template. Now, rt dot get for entity. What is the response we are expecting? rt dot get for entity. What is the difference between post for entity and get for entity? Post for entity is nothing but sending a post request. What is the meaning of get for entity? What is the meaning of get for entity? To send a get request. What are the parameters? URL and response type. No need to send any body, right? It is a get request. We are not sending any body. I'm just sending a get request and I want the response. Now, get for entity URL. This is my API URL. What is the response they are giving? Collection of JSON records, right? So when I send request to this URL, what is the response we are getting, guys? Try it out. Click on execute. What response we are getting? Collection of JSON records. It is a JSON array. This is one ticket object. This is another ticket object. And this is another ticket object. So collection of JSON records are coming. JSON objects are coming. I want to convert them into list of ticket objects. I want to convert them into list of ticket objects. Let me specify list of ticket dot class. Else, one minute. Get for entity of collection. I want to convert that JSON collection into Java collection. No, I'm getting list of ticket objects. I want to map that JSON array will come. JSON array I want to map to Java object. List.class, which is giving response entity of just list. This list should be ticket. For entity dot get body, ticket array I got, body dot arrays dot as list. I want to convert these objects into list, arrays dot as list. of body. Let me give list of tickets. Let me check return tickets. Okay, fine. So what is the logic we are writing in the second method, guys? What is the purpose of the second method? Second method is responsible to get the all the tickets which are available in the IRCTC. For this, I'm using this URL. For this URL, I'm sending a GET request by using GET for entity. When I send GET request, what is the response we are getting from IRCTC? What is the response we are getting from IRCTC? We are getting list of tickets. Tickets array, JSON will come. That JSON should be converted to Java object. I'm specifying the expected type as a ticket array. Here I'm speaking only ticket dot class. Here I'm taking ticket array dot class. Why? When I send a post request, I will get only one ticket JSON. That's why ticket dot class. When I send a get request, I'm getting more than one ticket. That's why I'm taking it as a ticket array dot class. So I'm getting the ticket array. I'm converting that into list of objects. I have some doubt here. Let's try. Check it. Is it working or not? So let me go to application. Let me let me test it with before developing the UI. Is that method working as expected or not? Context dot get bean of make my trip service dot class. Okay, I'm getting this bean dot get all tickets. What it is returning? All tickets. All tickets dot for each of system dot out. I just want to run whatever the tickets already available. I want to get and see whether I'm able to get the tickets from the IRCTC or not. Run as boot application. Yes. Are we able to get the tickets or not? So where actually these tickets are available? Provider. But where I am accessing? In the consumer, I am accessing. Provider will give the data in which format? JSON format. But how I am getting this data? In the form of object. How the JSON is converted to object? By using this REST template. So our consumer logic is working. Okay. So this logic is used to book the ticket. This logic is used to get the ticket. We developed our consumer by using REST template, guys. REST template is a predefined class in the Spring Web MVC. We have added web starter. With that web starter, we have developed web starter. With that web starter, we are able to access REST template. Using this REST template, we are able to send a request to the provider. Okay. Provider is sending the data in the JSON. That JSON we map it to object. That JSON we map it to object. Now, can I develop one UI to display all the tickets in the table format? Can we develop a UI for this one? Yes. To develop the UI, we need to create a controller with the timely pages. Okay. Before developing the UI, anybody not able to understand these two methods, which contains logic to access provider? Today we are writing this logic in the Java. Tomorrow we will write this logic in the Angular. Front end will be in the Angular. Angular application will access our backend application. Today provider is Java, consumer also Java. But in the real time, provider will be in the Java, consumer will be in the Angular or React. Anybody not able to understand consumer development? Simple, just 2 lines of code. That's it. We created object for REST template. REST template is a predefined class available in the web MVC. Using that, we are able to call post for entity, get for entity. Where people will get confused is, sir, you told that provider consumer will communicate with the JSON data, but I don't see any JSON here. We are dealing with the objects only. That JSON will be executed internally. Okay, so we don't need to write the JSON logic here. Our boot REST template and REST controller. REST template will be available at the provider. REST template will be available at the consumer. They will take care of object to JSON, JSON to object conversion. This method is used to send a GET request. Now, let us create one controller, new class, make my trip controller. Controller or REST controller? Controller. Because UI is required. C2B, make my trip controller. Now, in this make my trip controller, let us write annotation @controller. This controller wants to talk to service. How to talk to service? Public, sorry, let me inject the service first. Private, make my trip service. I will write it as a service. @auto void. @auto void. Then what next? Method. Public string index. Public string index. Return index. Index page I am returning. Now @get mapping. In the get mapping slash, I want to send some data from controller to UI. How to send the data from controller to UI? To send the data from controller to UI, we are going to use modal object. Now, let me call service dot get all tickets. I got all the tickets. How to send to the UI? Modal dot add attribute key comma value. My key is tickets. Value is all tickets. That's it. My key is ticket and value is all tickets. What this method will do, guys, now? Whenever we start our application, this method will be executed. This method will get all the tickets from the service method. What service method is doing? It is getting the tickets from the provider and it will give the tickets in the form of list. That list we are adding to the model. Why we are adding the list to the model? To send these tickets to from controller to UI. Now let me create index.html. Go to resources, templates, new file. That file we are creating in the templates with a name called index.html. So here we need to display a table. Let me get the bootstrap for this page. Get bootstrap.com. Go to the bootstrap. Add the bootstrap template for this page so that table display can be beautiful. Now here let me add one div. Let me add one div. Inside this div, h1 tickets, view tickets. Now I need to write one table just to display the tickets here. Table. Inside the table, tr, table header will be available. Now th, okay. So let me add ticket number, passenger name, ticket number, passenger name, from to date of journey. From to date of journey, ticket status, train number and ticket status. Train number and status. Got it? Okay. Now, this is a table header. Now I need to go for table body. table header. Now I need to go for table body. In the table body, for every ticket, we need to create one row. Already we know how to iterate the collection. Okay. So if you see in our previous application, in the templates, booksview.html, this is how we are going to iterate the collection. Okay. So let us take this syntax here for each. What is the key here? Tickets is the key. I want to store into ticket object. Okay. One tr. One tr represents one row. Inside this tr, td. Inside this tr, td. Inside the td, what we are going to print? What we are going to print now? th colon text. Th colon text is equal to dollar of t dot ticket number. T dot ticket number. Now, next one, passenger name, from, to, date of journey, train number, status. This is name of the passenger, from, to, then date of journey, train number, and status. That's it. This is going to print all the tickets we are getting from the IRCTC in the table format. Okay. So now for this one, I need to give bootstrap classes. Class is equal to table, table hyphen bordered, table hyphen striped. That's it. So bootstrap classes I'm giving for the table. Now let's stop this project. Now in this application, do I need to call this logic now? This is only for a testing purpose. Remove this, not required. Now the logic will be executed by our controller. I will send a request to my application. By using this embedded server, we will run the consumer. I will send the request to this consumer application. Consumer application request will go to controller. Controller will call the service. Service will call the provider. Provider will give the JSON. JSON will be converted to Java. That JSON data will be converted to Java. Java objects will be written. Java objects I'm sending to the UI. In the UI, we are displaying the data in the table format. Are you clear with this one? Yeah. Let's go here, refresh, run this application. You can debug also. Debug as boot application. Sorry. We should run our make my trip. Debug as boot application. I'm running my make my trip application. Go to browser, localhost colon 8080. Localhost colon 8080 slash. Yes. Are we able to get the tickets here? Actually, where these tickets are available? These tickets are available in the provider, but we are getting those tickets in the consumer and we are displaying those tickets here. Let's make it little div class is equal to container. No. Yes. Now we are able to get all the tickets which are available in the provider. Okay. How consumer is accessing that provider data? By using REST template. By using REST template, we are able to access our provider. Good. Now we need to develop one more thing here. I need to create one ahref is equal to book new ticket. I need to give one button book ticket. Class is equal to button hyphen primary. Now what we need to do in the controller, we should write one method public string load ticket book ticket. Okay, public string book ticket, we are taking model object, then return book ticket. Okay, here we need to do modal dot add attribute key comma passenger object. In order to book the ticket, first we need to load the booking ticket page. To load that page, we need to bind our passenger object, form binding. How to map it? By using get mapping. Then I will give slash ticket. This is get method to book the ticket. I can give like this. Book iPhone ticket, which is used to book the ticket. It is used to load the page. Just it is used to load the page. Form should be available. Now, what is another method we need to write here? What is another method we need to write? Public string ticket booking. Public string ticket booking modal. What this method should do, guys? It should take passenger object as a parameter. Passenger object as a parameter. Then service dot book ticket with the passenger object. What it will return? Ticket object. Then what we can do? Modal dot add attribute. Whatever the ticket that is booked, we can send it to the UI. Then I can return book ticket same page. This method will be mapped to post request. Post mapping slash ticket. Okay, total 3 methods available. What is the purpose of this last method? What is the purpose of last method? Last method is used to get all the tickets. What is this last but one? To show the form. This method is used to show the form where you can take the passenger data. What is the purpose of this method? When the form is submitted, that ticket should be booked. The data, passenger data should go to provider. For that we having this method. This is used to load all the tickets. Already we have tested this. It is working. Here I'm giving one button to book the new ticket. So to book the new ticket, first page should be loaded. Let me create one HTML new, or else let me copy this HTML. What is the page? Book ticket.html. What should be there in this book ticket.html? Form should be available. In book ticket.html, we need to write a form. Form action. What action? It is th:\action. th:\action. th:\action, which is ticket slash ticket. What is the method? Method is equal to post. Method is equal to post. Now, th:\action method is equal to post, and we need to do the form binding. How do we do the form binding? th:\object. What is our object now? What is our form binding object? Passenger object. Now you see this passenger object we are sending to the UI. That page we are going to load form. Inside the form we will be having a table. Inside the table tr. Inside the tr we have td. What we are going to take first? Name we are going to take. How do we take this name? Input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text. How to map it to the field? th:\field. th:\field is equal to th:\field is equal to star of name. Okay, like this we need to write all the fields. Name, then next one from to, date of journey, then train number, then button, something like this. Name, from, to, date of journey, train number. Name, from, to, date of journey, train number. Here I need to give a button. Input type is equal to submit. Value is equal to book. Ticket. Class is equal to button, button hyphen primary. Button hyphen primary. Okay, good. So this is used to book the ticket. Once the post request comes to this method, what it is sending? It is sending ticket data, or else you can send a simple success message also. What I will send as a message? Book ticket, your ticket booked. Your ticket booked. Something like this. Now, I want to access this message. How do we access this message? Inside this div container, how do you access the message? P th colon text is equal to th colon text is equal to dollar of message. Dollar of message. I want to display this message in the color. Div something like this. Font color or whatever you want. Font color is equal to some green. This paragraph I want to display in the green color. That's it. This is used for booking the ticket. And here in this page, I want to give one hyperlink. A href is equal to slash, I will give view tickets. View tickets. Now class is equal to button hyphen sec button hyphen danger. Something like this. Danger button. Now let's stop this project. Clear, refresh, debug, boot application. Clear the console. Okay. Now let's go to here. 8080. What is the option we are getting now? Book ticket option is getting. When I click on book ticket, your URL pattern is not mapped. Go to index.html. In this index.html, for the book ticket, what is the URL pattern? Book hyphen ticket. Okay. href is equal to book hyphen ticket. Button book ticket. Okay. Fine. Refresh. Book ticket is available. Click on book ticket. When I click on book ticket, what happened? My page is loaded. Click on view tickets. So my ticket is coming here. Book ticket page is loading. Let me give one title here. H1 book ticket here. That's it. Yeah. Book ticket here title is coming. When I click on view tickets, all the tickets are coming now. Let me enter some details. Some John from HYD to Guntur. Date of journey some 10/10/2024. Train number 4321. Okay, click on book ticket. It is failing. What it is failing, guys? Class path resource. 1 minute. Error during execution. Book ticket template line number 25. Book ticket line number 25. What is this? th colon field. Object is p name. Okay. John ticket is booked. Actually, the ticket booking is completed. The problem is when I don't write this annotation, you observe what is the issue. First, this page is loaded. Ticket booking is completed. After ticket booking is completed, I am returning the same page. When I return the same page, what happening? It is expecting P in the model. That P is not available in the model. That's why form is not able to reload. That is the reason I'm giving @model attribute annotation. So what will happen? First time when the page is loaded, that P will be available in the model. Second time when the form is submitted, again P will be available in the model. So form can be reloaded. Now let's stop and start this application. Yeah, clear the console. Go here, view tickets. Last ticket is John ticket. Click on book ticket. Now let me enter the name as Smith from Guntur to HYD. Date of journey 05/01/24. Train number 1234. Click on book ticket. Your ticket booked. Click on view tickets. Now that Smith record is available. From Guntur to Hyderabad with the today's date, the ticket booking is completed. But actually, where is the logic to book the ticket? In the provider, but we are able to access the provider from our application. Now, whatever we are executing, it is running in my local. This application is called as a consumer application. This consumer application is accessing the provider, getting the data. So now you see this diagram we are able to implement. Provider is available, running in the cloud. Consumer is available, running in the local. So consumer having the UI. Now if you see in my consumer, I'm having in my your ticket booked ID. I can print this ID book ticket dot get ticket number. Whatever the ticket is booked, I want to display the ticket number also in the response. Now clear this console. Good. Let me keep a breakpoint here to understand how the code is executing. Debug this code. Go to here, book ticket. Now my page is loaded. Let's enter some details. This time Charles from Vizag coming to HYD. Date of journey 01/02/24. Train number 9632. Something like this. I'm entering Charles data. Click on book ticket. There is a breakpoint, guys. Now observe how it is executing. When I submit that form, the form data is coming to post request method with the passenger data as a form binding. So the fields which entered, the details are coming here. Here I am calling service method. What is the logic in the service method? What is the logic in the service method? Here I am sending post request, REST template, API URL. What is this P? Object. So object will go to IRCTC. Passenger data will be going to the IRCTC in the JSON. But what I am passing? Object. Who will convert object to JSON? REST template will convert that. And what is this ticket that class? Hey, you book the ticket and give me my ticket back. You take passenger, you give me ticket. You make my trip is giving passenger data to IRCTC. IRCTC giving ticket data. How they are communicating? JSON. Make my trip is getting the form data, giving to IRCTC. IRCTC booking the ticket, giving the ticket back to make my trip. That logic is happening with the post for entity. Ticket booking logic available in the IRCTC. Make my trip is able to reuse the logic? Yes. But does make my trip know what logic available in the IRCTC? No, don't know. It will just send the passenger data. IRCTC will execute the logic. IRCTC will give the ticket to the make my trip. Post for entity. Now web service call is happening. Make my trip is communicating with IRCTC. Ticket booking got completed. We got the ticket data back. See what is the ticket? Charles ticket number is 4. Now F8. If you go to this application, it will display your ticket booked. The ticket ID is 4. Now go to view tickets. When I click on view tickets, what happened now? One get request is sent to our index method. What we are doing in this index method? Service.get all tickets. F5. Where the tickets available? IRCTC. I want to access that. Get request. What is this? Get for entity. What are the parameters for get for entity? API URL ticket array.class. Why I am taking ticket array? There are more than one ticket available. List of records available. I'm taking it as a array. That array I am converting back to my list. Then I'm returning list of tickets. When I return the tickets, I'm setting model.add attribute. What is the meaning of model.add attribute? Send all these tickets to the UI. In the UI, what we are doing? Displaying these tickets in the table format. So Charles ticket we booked, the ticket number coming as 4 for the Charles, the ticket information is displaying here. Are you able to understand the consumer? This is how projects will execute in the real time. Logic will be available in one application and the other application will reuse the logic. These are called distributed applications. What is the meaning of distributed application? If one application is communicating with the another application, that is called distributed application. We can call them as web services. One application running in the Linux machine, my application running in the Windows machine. From this application, I'm able to access that application. So provider, consumer. Provider available in the cloud, consumer available in the local. So today our provider is developed by using Java. Consumer also developed by using Java. Tomorrow consumer can be Angular. Consumer can be Python. Consumer can be .NET. There is no problem because these applications are interoperable applications. What is the meaning of that interoperability? What is the meaning of interoperability? Irrespective of the language, irrespective of the platform, applications are communicating. So that's why these applications are called interoperable applications. You got the clarity how projects will run in the real time? Good. Anybody not able to understand make my trip development? First, you look at the service class. So inside the service, our logic is available to send the post request to book the ticket, send get request to get all the tickets here. This is service. Controller, nothing. It is just taking the form data, sending the data to the UI. You take passenger form data, call the service method. You get the data from the service, send it to the UI and display in the table. We already developed this kind of application, taking the form data and displaying the data in the table. But earlier, we have taken form data, we stored it in the database. We got the data from the database, we displayed in the UI. But today, database is not available. Instead of database, what we are doing? Sending to IRCTC, getting from the IRCTC. IRCTC is a provider that is available in the AWS. Are you able to understand? Consumer development and provider development. Today, how we developed our consumer? By using REST template. What is this REST template? It is a class which is used to send HTTP request. It supports synchronous communication. What is the alternate for the REST template? Web client. Okay. In the tomorrow session, we will understand what is a web client and how to access IRCTC by using web client. Today we are accessing by using Make My Trip. Tomorrow, same application we will develop by using web client. Are you getting my point? Any questions, anyone? Anybody not able to understand? Consumer development. If you can develop this provider and consumer, that means you can say that you know REST APIs development. Provider application, consumer application. So if your provider is not available in the cloud, you can use my provider URLs for that, guys. Okay. I will give this logic. Only service is sufficient. Na? You need a controller also. Controller not required. Controller you can develop. Form logic you can capture. This is the service logic I'm giving to understand our consumer development by using REST template. Okay. Let's see. Any questions for online people? Any questions? Anyone?
Sir, one question is that we are deploying our application in the cloud.
Yes.
Then that application is continuously running. So we are using the free tire. So is there any issue or
No problem, sir. No problem.
it is continuously running? So it is not issue.
No issue.
Okay.
Sir,
Hi,
in
Ashok.
trip service class, we have line number 23, right? For entry dot get body.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, just I would like to know what that is. I mean, what exactly it will do.
The provider will send the data in the body. That body data we are getting and storing into object. That's it. Whenever you call this method, you will send a request with the request body. Provider will get the data in the JSON response body. Response body we are getting and storing into our object. Get body means you are taking the response body data into your variable.
Okay, okay.
Hi, Ashok. Actually, I have created a DB in AWS.
Sorry?
I have created a DB in AWS using RDS. I'm using endpoint. I'm unable to connect with the database. I'm facing with the driver class related issue.
So don't use that RDS database, sir. In the coming classes, I will tell you how to work with that RDS. Currently, you can use your local database or H2 database.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Ashok,
Yes.
sir, are you going to also include the Webflux in coming classes?
Yes, sir. Tomorrow only we will see that, because if I want to go with web client, then Webflux is required.
Okay, sir. So would you include the concept also?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hi, Ashok.
Yeah,
Ashok, my question is, in here in the service layer, we are directly writing the API URL, the hard-coded one. In real time also, we will not write.
No. We need to read that URL from the properties file. Currently, I'm keeping in the Java code. We'll read it from the properties file.
Okay, and from the properties file, how can we read from here?
We'll discuss that.
Okay. And please upload 30th December recording video, Ashok.
That day, I think class is not happened, madam. The class happened, the recording will be available. That day I have said that class not happened on that day.
29th was not there, but 30th.
31st also, I think class not happened. That day I gave the assignment. Class not happened on the 31st.
No, I'm talking about 30. 29th was not there, but 30, I think there. I missed that class actually.
Let me check it. I think I did not find any recording in the Zoom that day.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashok sir,
what is the difference between the post per entity or exchange method?
Exchange method I have not explained, sir. I will explain that.
Ashok sir.
Yes.
Can you share theme code on like?
Okay.
Because I'm not aware about theme leaf code. Not this one, sir. Theme leaf, like HTML code. I want HTML code.
I will give you all.
And this one I developed. It's HTML. I don't know.
Hi, so good morning. What is the difference between get for post per entity or post per object?
We'll explain that, sir.
Yeah, Ashok, this is Sudhakar. So while we getting the data from the get mapping in the service layer, so we have the array. Using the array, instead of array, we can't anything like
you can specify list type dot class also. You can specify
list type of class. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So what is the difference between RESTful web services and REST API, sir?
Both are same, sir. People will call it with different names. Both are same.
Same only, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, I have given the complete code of today's application. So this is my service class, which contains the logic to access the provider. This is my controller, which is going to deal with the request and response. This is my HTML, where form is available. This is the HTML, where the records are displaying in the table format. Okay. So please do this practice before coming to tomorrow's session. Tomorrow, we will learn about web client, how to develop the client by using web client. Got it?
Yes. Sir, please upload the recording as early as possible, sir.
Sure. Hello?
So could you please go into the request method, the controller?
1 minute.
Hello, Ashok sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, could you show the yesterday's application because starting part I missed.
You are in the videos plan?
No, sir. I took a recorded session of a previous batch. I was 10 minutes late for joining the class yesterday.
Sir, okay.
Sir, I just want to ask the previous batch the projects were there and the project here is going to happen. There is a slight difference in it or no?
Mostly same, sir. No difference.
Okay, because I tried to some codes were not running, so I tried to import it because some error from my sides and
Maybe that previous batch I have done with boot 2.x. This batch I'm doing with 3.x.
Okay.
That can be one difference.
Because some projects were not running, so I asked.
Yeah, you need to develop, sir. Don't execute the previous batch examples. You need to redevelop them.
Okay, sir. For reference, because sometime minor mistakes. So for cross verification of mine, and you have given me the code earlier one.
Yeah.
Sir, could you open the
This
20?
is yesterday's project, sir.
Yeah, first one. No, that no, only this one in Ashok. This first folder. Okay. Only this much is there. I thought something more logic is there.
No, it is just start class.
Okay, sir.
Hi Ashok, you mentioned like a REST template used for invoking the HTTPS calls, right? Can we make the HTTPS calls also using
Yes,
REST
sir.
template?
That is just a URL. You can make HTTP or HTTPS, any calls you can make.
Okay.
Sir, one more thing I just want to ask. Lambok is not working in latest version also.
Yes, sir. In the STS IDE, it is not working. I need to fix that issue. I will check it.
Earlier it was working, but
yes, currently it is not working, sir. We need to check it. Lombok is not working and
Ashok, I
DevTools
have
also
posted
not working.
one comment. Lambo is we need to set up that. Can you please see that?
I will do that, sir. In my system also it is not working. I will try and I will let you know what is the fix.
The comment I already posted the URL stack trace. That is helpful for after fixing that I can able to do the Lambo expression also.
Sure, I will check it.
Sir, I tried in Eclipse IDE also 2023 one, but it's not running over there also.
Okay.
Sir, post for entity, if you want to pass.
UI with the help of REST or Angular, the control logic will be same.
Controller is same, sir. Only service logic is going to be different.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Can
hi.
you explain once again the flow of after ticket book?
Madam, you can debug the code and you can check it now. Whenever the ticket booking, you click on the button.
Not here. Today's class.
Yes, that is what.
Project.
Yeah. Whenever you click on the form, it will go to controller. From controller, it will go to service method. Service method will send the request to IRCTC. IRCTC will give the ticket data. Then we are sending success message to the UI.
Sir? Hello,
sir? For this post entity, if we want to send request headers.
Yeah, that is exchange method we need to use for that.
Okay.
So there in the post for entity, the third parameter ticket.class is you put there, right? So in real time, I don't have that class in my local environment, correct? Because we don't create that Java class.
We need to create. If you want to represent the data in the object format, you need to create. If you don't have that class, then you need to take as a string dot class. You will get the raw JSON.
Usually the third party APIs when we call, so that time we don't have those classes in our local environment, correct? So
you need to, whenever you are accessing a third party API, that is what I told you. Third party API documentation, you will see their request and response binding classes you need to create in your application also. Otherwise, you cannot map the data to your object. Na? You need to develop those classes in your client application.
Okay.
Yeah, I developed these classes. Yes.
Yeah, usually those APIs have a lot of information, right? Like nested arrays and then loop in loop. Like
whatever information you need, based on that, you need to design your binding class.
Okay.
Ashok sir.
Yes.
Suppose we have provider and consumer, both project having ticket class. The data is the same,
Yes, variables should be same.
no difference.
Yeah,
any.
variable names should be same, then only data mapping can happen. Otherwise, data mapping cannot happen.
Ashok, you mentioned difference between like the asynchronous and synchronous calls.
Tomorrow I will explain. I have not discussed that, sir.
I mean, you just give a brief about that, so you are going to cover that.
Class related to that.
Sure, yeah. Thank you.
Ashok sir, Swagger application, is there a configuration should we have to make it, because earlier it was dependency, two dependency we have to add it into it.
In the 3.x, it's not required, sir.
Okay, sir. So, thank you, sir.
Good. Fine, guys.
Sir,
Yes.
in Swag.
Good. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll meet in the tomorrow session. Okay. I have uploaded the notes for the practice. Whatever I developed today in the Make My Trip, it is uploaded in the portal. Please complete that project. Otherwise, you will not understand microservices development. Provider, you can use my provider URL. You can develop on the consumer part. Thank you.